Welcome to the UTS Finance Society Podcast, Finance Unplugged. Welcome to episode 2, To Be in the Knowing. Today, Alicia and I will become financial journalists, looking at what is going on in the world and how it is impacting us, financially speaking. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or whenever you're listening to this podcast, and welcome to Finance Unplugged.
Yes, so I am your host, Alicia, and obviously next to me is our beautiful, amazing co-host, Isabella. And here we are today at UTS Finance Unplugged to be making sure that we have finance to be informative, entertainment, and making sure it is all bite-sized for all you lovely listeners here today. So today we have a couple of headlines. Of course, we'll be doing our special episode of what's going on in the world and being in the knowing and understanding what's happening with our financial industry and even with our own finances. Hey guys, so we know that the news can be constantly changing, which is why we're just giving you a bit of a pre-warning that with this week's episode's financial headlines are from the 13th of March. But all goods, no need to stress, keep enjoying and listening to the podcast. Couple of our headlines for today. The CBA forecasts a double tap in rate hikes for March and May. So we have CBA, good old Commonwealth Bank, has sent a shockwave through the mortgage market by revisiting its interest rate outlook. Economists are now predicting the RBA will be lifting the cash rate by 25 basis points and its meeting next week, followed by another hike in May, which would take the official cash rate to 4.35%. Driven by a stubbornly tight labour market and renewed by inflation risk and global energy costs. This makes me feel so upset, but that's okay. We press on. A couple of other headlines. The ASX has 200 slumps to 1.3% as oil tanker attacks slingshot prices. The Australian share market's taken a really heavy hit on Thursday with the ASX tumbling 114 points close to 8,629. The slump was triggered by reports of Iranian drone attacks on oil tankers in the Persian Gulf, caused by crude prices to spike nearly 10% in a single session. Atlassian announces 10% global workforce cut. In a significant blow to the local tech sector, Sydney-founded software giant Atlassian confirms it's laying off approximately 10% of its global workforce. That's almost 500 Australian staff, with our CEO, Mike Cannon-Brookes, cited a strategic pivot toward AI-first engineering and a need to streamline operations. With a brutal reporting season that saw software stocks penalized for high valuations and slower than expected AI integration. And finally, our household spending falls for the first time in 17 months. New data from CommBank Household Spending Insights Index revealed a 0.5% drop in February, making the first monthly decline in Australian household spending since September 2024. The pullback was evident in the discretionary categories like recreation and household goods, with analysts suggesting this may be the tipping point for consumers as the cumulative pressure of high rents, electricity costs, and rising petrol prices finally exhausts household buffers.
All right. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at a couple of things that are impacting us, especially as young professionals or students who are probably going to be looking into internships or even going into graduate roles really soon.
Yes. Yeah. Have you started?
I mean, my degree is still going for another 2.5 years. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm looking at honours for science, so I can wait. But a summer or winter internship wouldn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of definitely trying out something in a bank, so I don't know, anyone out there, let me have a chance. Read my resume. But other than that, obviously, we've got our grad programs going. I do know that PwC had closed theirs on March 14th. KPMG, Deloitte, Macquarie have got a lot of their 2027 grad programs open now. So to all those people who are looking, I'm sure you are searching right now and applying heavily.
I know there's a lot of macroeconomic roles coming out from the Treasury. So that's something that's definitely interesting to look forward to.
Really?
Yeah, we actually had a talk about it not that long ago in class. So it's definitely interesting, but I don't think I'm going to be applying for a couple of years. Just saying.
That's fair.
All right, let's begin with our first main issue, which is all about the domestic economy and our current cost of living crisis. How do you feel about that, Alicia?
I don't like it. I don't like cost of living. It's funny, I was talking to my dad again because, the RBA currently has now just increased the rates and now it's at a current 4.1%.
Yeah, 4.1.
4.1%. My mistake, trying not to scare everyone. 4.1% for the cash rate. With our CPI now at a 3.8%. Anyway, I was having a chat with him and he's like, still back in our day. It's always the back in our day comments that always gets me. When interest rates were 18% in the 90s when we had a recession in Australia.
Yeah, that was the time.
Yeah, we weren't alive.
Yeah, we were, but
Yeah.
it was a time, I've heard.
Yes, it was a time where buying a house was only $300,000 and that was the least of your worries. Now it costs about $1.5 to $2 million sometimes to own a decently sized house. That's not even up to date in the sense of renovations. I mean, it's pretty insane.
That's crazy. All right, so we already know about our RBA rate hikes. Unfortunately, it is now at 4.1%, sadly, but it is what it is. So if anyone's interested in saving money, this would probably be the best time to be doing so and not spending instead. But with that being said, we have noticed a really resilient labour market. Unfortunately, it is incredibly tight because our unemployment is too high. Wait, no. It's too low.
Too low.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And that is not good for us, unfortunately, because that means we will have too much money to be spending right now, which is only adding to this cost of living crisis further.
I don't agree with that.
Really?
No, I don't. Because, like, I mean, I get it. The labour market and jobs, and yes, I get it's great. Employment is low, but sometimes I feel like, and I know, I talk to a lot of my other friends about this, that even when we are applying for jobs, like, we're not being considered, or this young working force isn't being considered a lot of the time. Even in the sense of just like with job markets and everything, expectations within companies and workplaces have changed. You know, early entry level and entry level now comes with this expectation of having done almost 2 to 3 years of experience.
Yeah, I never understood why they did that. It just defeats the purpose of the entry level role now.
No, I know, it's ridiculous. So even though yes, it's great, unemployment is at a super all-time low at the minute. It still feel like it's not being very easily and accurately reflected. I think definitely for us as young people.
Definitely. It's even less accurate.
Yeah.
I've heard of so many people trying to get another job, especially like right now. And I feel like technically the idea of getting another job is probably not as hard, but it could be because unemployment is just that low that there are no jobs on offer.
Exactly. No, and like even nowadays where this whole idea of the gig economy is becoming a big thing. Like, how many jobs do you work?
Well, apart from running my own business, I work at like multiple companies, but like freelance. So I guess you could count that.
Yeah, it's definitely 2. I have 3 casual jobs. Probably gonna amp it to a 4 soon.
Oh no.
Just also with like how expensive things have become. I think definitely like, I mean, we were all young, but always hearing back in the day of like when my sisters used to go out, a drink used to cost $10, and now like.
Oh my goodness, what world are they living in?
No, I know.
I have no idea where to find a drink that would even be $10
I know.
in the first place.
I know. Vodka lime sodas is like a flat $14 nowadays. I'm like, why? It's just soda water and vodka. But yes, so no, the cost of living is definitely having an effect with us. Even as well with cost of living, and the increase in our cash rate, loan rates for borrowing and loaning money to actually buy a house has definitely changed. I was actually having a bit of a look this morning, interested to see, you know, with this new cash rate change from the RBA, how are the banks are kind of responding. And I did look at the comparethemarket.com.au.
Yeah.
Love their ads, great marketing. I always literally sing the lingo in my head every time I see it. I was having a look and I saw a couple of the banks where their range of rates for loaning money to buy a house is ranging from about 5.59% to 6.94%.
Oh wow, that is crazy.
It is very crazy. I mean, it's crazy that we're almost basically a decade ago where we were before. Back in 2018, those rates were about the same for us. And I mean, even more so in comparison about definitely COVID-19 when rates were like 2 to 2.5%, where everyone, and definitely the banks were very much pushing for more money to be out into the market and being like, yes, you can borrow more, you can buy more. And now we've come to this whole realization of, you know, did you actually have the means to borrow for a 1.5 million house where monthly repayments were 2K and now they've gone to 6K? Like, it's insane how much this has changed like so quickly within the last 4 years.
It really is. On top of that, not to mention the current inflation pressures that we're experiencing in Australia too.
Yeah.
While the government has introduced technically tax cuts or energy bill relief, technically set for July 2026, so we'll see if that actually follows through.
Fair.
Current figures are showing that insurance payments are up. I don't really know how much my parents pay for insurance, so I'm not going to comment on this, but yeah, I'm assuming they're a lot more expensive now, especially with like the variable rate stuff. I think a lot of people on that kind of plan, I don't think I know much about it, to be fair.
Yeah, with the difference with the rates is obviously they always give you two types of opportunities and options. So again, kind of like getting back to that home loan idea, there is the variable rates and then there's the fixed rates, which I think I'm not sure how it works same with insurance. I always thought it was always variable and never had that fixed opportunity. But definitely as well with like personal loans, business loans and everything, you usually can be lucky with getting that fixed, but it's only for an X amount of years.
Yeah. It's sad, but it is the reality that we live in.
Yeah. And the reality of coffee costing us $7 sometimes.
$7?
Yeah.
I've been paying 10.
10? I don't pay. What are you ordering?
Okay, I'm traumatized now.
What do you order? What's your go-to coffee order then?
Currently an iced latte, and I feel like they charge you extra when you get iced for no reason at all.
Fair.
And then technically the cafe I go to, they don't charge you extra for syrup to like get flavoring and whatever, but they will charge you for like a milk alternative, which is what I usually do because I need it to be sweeter. I do not like the taste of espresso. I don't know what it is.
Oh, I'm so turned off by milk. I'm a piccolo girly now. With like a piccolo latte with 1 sugar, and I'm sweet. That's my hit of caffeine for the day. But yes. Oh, what else? We have our MacBook Neo. Okay, these. Whoa, can't speak today. This is insane. I actually have been seeing a lot of the ads lately. The computer looks insane, like just kind of like the layout and everything. But how does it cost only $899?
I actually went. Literally last Saturday, I went to the Apple store. But I didn't buy the MacBook Neo. I got an iPad. But my cousin bought one, and she's enjoying it.
Yeah.
To be fair, I feel like as Apple decided to surprise us, really, with this budget-friendly laptop, it is definitely a market disruption because I'm starting to notice so many people go to the Apple store when they normally wouldn't. And most of these people are kind of bringing like upper brand phones, like, Google Gemini phones or even Samsung phones. And now all of a sudden you're seeing them gravitate towards a brand that they probably have some sort of distasteful or a preference against.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting kind of take on this market.
Yeah, it's definitely, I want to say Apple's acting as a monopoly because technically it isn't, but it does kind of have that monopoly effect in the sense of like, they've brought this new product which is basically diminishing like Chromebook. I don't even know if Chromebook is still a thing nowadays. That's very 2015, 2016 coded of me.
Really good question.
But like Chromebooks or even Samsungs and like the good old like PC. I'm interested to see what those sales will look like. Will they even become cheaper? And try and compete with Apple, or is it kind of just a lost cause?
That's actually a really good question. I saw an ad recently for like the new HP laptops. They're ranging about 1,200 to 300.
Yeah. And
the MacBook Neo is only 900, which I'm finding kind of an interesting choice in their pricing strategy. So I can't wait to see how this kind of plays out overall.
Yes, indeed. But also with that financial impact, analysts are expecting Apple to ship up to 5 million units this year. While it will pressure profit margins, as we've been saying with the other PC makers, there definitely can be concerns of it cannibalizing sales.
Yep, definitely.
In as well, because if you've introduced this cheaper product, then all your other products are going to go all for naught, because MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, even the big MacBook desktops.
Oh, yeah, definitely the iMacs. I was thinking about getting one, but now I'm just like thinking I might as well just get another laptop at that point.
Yeah, I had this dream of like, I'll have this big ass MacBook monitor in my office as I get older, but now I'm like, no, I have a good old, it's not old, but it's a very nice Lenovo, I think 32-inch monitor.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
I know, which I get to hook up to my laptop. It's the best. People need monitors. I don't know how I've worked off small screens my entire life.
I can't imagine. Like, I travel a lot between like work, well, my business technically, and obviously family. So for me, I'm always bringing my iPad around as like a second monitor kind of situation.
No, yeah.
So I feel like that's the closest I've ever gotten to having a monitor.
Yeah, that is fair.
Alright, so with this current market disruption, we're noticing a lot of these other competitors like Microsoft and Google's Chromebooks, which I haven't heard about since I don't even know actually. It's been so long.
They were a big thing for me. I don't know. Does that show my age? Actually, probably
I
does.
don't think so. I feel like some schools still have it, but I don't think I've ever seen a school use it.
I used to, yeah, we were big on the Chromebooks when, like, obviously laptops were starting to be introduced back into primary schools, which is so weird to think because back then in our time, it was all this push for technology and push for computers, and now schools are reverting back to, like, this pen and paper assignments, which is crazy.
Yeah,
obviously
insane.
In this, like, moment of AI. So, no, it is crazy. And it's true that market disruption is going to happen because Apple, obviously, it's made this really affordable product, which I think will definitely draw a lot of people in. I mean, are we going to abandon those other competitors like Microsoft and HP and Lenovo and kind of around those products and monitors, as well as also abandoning other Apple products like the iPad and like MacBook Air, MacBook Pro and their big desktops. So it'll be very interesting to see how that happens.
It definitely would be. So apart from that, of course, we know that Apple is targeting aggressively our education and mid-range sections, especially because of this whole idea of having a budget-friendly laptop. So I feel like we're going to see, particularly in schools, a lot more students have this, or even coming into university students.
Yeah, 100%.
This might be more common.
Yeah, that is true. But even just like, look, you can invest in a $900 laptop. My thing is going to be how much ROI are we going to get from it in the sense of how long it will last. Is this a laptop that will only last you 2 years that you constantly have to change? Or like my beautiful MacBook Pro, which has lasted me since year 11. It is definitely slightly dying. It could be potentially on its last legs, but we're still going. That like when I purchased this, or more from my parents purchased this, whether that was about 1.4 to 1.5k, it's lasted me this long and it's gotten me so far. Like,
I am shocked by that price.
Yeah, it's a rude awakening.
Mine was way more.
Really? Wait, serious?
Yeah.
That's insane.
I can't. Oh. The idea of it being 1.4 or 1.5k is like mind shocking because that's how much this iPad costs. And I'm like, a laptop used to cost that much?
Yeah. Definitely like, it was definitely like 1.4 to 1. It was something around that range. But yeah, I do not remember it being like 2k.
Which is what? 2.3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shock.
But you know what? That also shows, one, what our economy has turned into, two, cost of living and pressures and everything all around. And definitely the tech sector and how it's definitely advanced. I mean, we now have inbuilt AIs into our Microsoft like Word docs, Copilot, this introduction of is it Gemini? What's the Apple AI now? Is it just AI intelligence?
Apple AI is literally called Apple Intelligence, but they run the ChatGPT software. So, like, technically it's ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I don't really think they should have a separate name for that, you know?
Yeah, but, like, with all this new add-ons and everything, obviously, it's definitely changed a little bit more.
Yeah, and it probably would also increase the price as well, even though you don't need half of those features.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the AI, but we'll get onto that topic a bit later. Next, we have our geopolitics and our stock markets. So, what's been happening there?
Oh, the Middle East conflict. It's just escalating.
I can't even read the news. Like, sometimes I'm just like, this is really upsetting. I need to look away. But then as well, this whole our Instagram algorithms and our TikTok algorithm is just news being pushed to the forefront of everything, and it's great for exposure, but it's also like
it is so like
it's a
bad
lot
for your mental health as well.
Yeah, because like you just feel for everything. You just feel for everyone. But yes, there's obviously been heightened tensions in the Middle East, as well as with attacks in Lebanon, like in Beirut, in the capital and surrounding areas, which has been very crazy. Have also become this transmission channel for market volatility.
Literally, especially with the oil prices. Have you noticed?
Don't get me started. Okay, I downloaded, actually, this is a public service announcement. Download the 7-Eleven app. You guys can lock in a fuel price. So you're not paying $2.50, you can only pay then $2.19, which is what I've been doing.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
It is a very handy tip to have and a very handy thing to have if you're like really, really tight for budget. So 7-Eleven has got this new like locking out thing. I don't know if it's new or not, but it's definitely been helpful in the sense of not running around looking for fuel prices that are somewhat cheap. If like you can lock in a price that's cheap enough and it's near your home, you literally just show the the barcode at the counter and they go, yep, you're sweet, $2.19. So definitely recommend doing that. But other than 7-Eleven apps and locking prices, yes, markets have definitely been on the edge regarding the Strait of Hormuz.
Yep, so that's where all our oil is kind of stuck right now, and all our fuel, because no one's letting anything pass. And there's like tensions and talks about a quote-unquote COVID 2.0 lockdown situation, panic buy, happening again, because all the food is stuck and like there's no transport coming.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen in the coming weeks, really.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting with that. And obviously with our RBA fighting hopefully against inflation, and as well just if there's no oil, and particularly in Australia, we use quite a lot of oil for farming, with our farming and our farmlands and for our produce, as well obviously for our cars, but even just trains and transportation. I mean, my brother-in-law is a freight train driver, so he's actually the one who's, you know, bringing all this produce up and down and everything, Junior Parks. He does a lot of those routes. And in COVID, because he was an essential worker, they would bring a lot of products around Australia. So again, it's like if there's no oil for those types of trains, how are we going to get?
It's definitely going to be something very, very soon.
It'll be very interesting to see. But obviously, due to the impact of this Iranian war and this fear of the oil going dry, markets have definitely been responding.
Yep, they have been.
Yes.
And not quietly either.
No, they really haven't. I was reading this morning in the Morningstar, apparently there's been higher bond yields. Equities such as energy and defensive assets are performing other areas that are actually rate sensitive. So it'll be very interesting to see, as well as financial advisors and portfolio managers, what that diversification is going to start looking like. Obviously, because oil's been a big asset.
Yeah, it's literally part of Australia's like biggest exports as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to be definitely quite detrimental.
Yes, indeed.
All right, and then finally, our interesting topic of controversy is all about the AI industries and startups. We know that our AI sector is currently transitioning from experimentation to agentic applications. In other words, systems that are no longer just responding back to you and feeding you information, but actually doing stuff for you. Yay!
Guys, it's Skynet. Have you watched The Terminator?
No.
Isabella!
No, I actually even heard of that.
You need to watch The Terminator, okay? You will get my reference with AI, because obviously, agenic, I actually don't know what that means, so I've now added a new word to my vocabulary. Agenic AI being that it doesn't just chat, it performs. Basically, the whole premises of Terminator is they build this AI called Skynet. He gets really smart, gets to the point of humans are enemies, so he like bombs the entire world, and like, yeah, it's crazy.
That's right.
Very, very good. Arnold Schwarzenegger, amazing.
Okay.
But yes, sorry, agenic AI. So what would that mean for us then?
Well, apart from what we already see currently in education, well, we're probably going to expect way worse, not only for future generations, but our current population who are in the workforce.
Yes, that is true. You do say that there's been predictions by 2027 that AI agents will cause a $58 billion market shakeup, challenging traditional productivity tools like Microsoft Office and Google Workspace.
This shall be very interesting, especially because they have their own kind of like chatbots as well right now.
Yeah.
If they're going to also jump in on this kind of train and, I guess, create their own agentic application as well within it.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I really don't want to lose kind of the basis of what we have with Microsoft Office and Google Workspace, but also just the use of AI and how we've been using it will definitely change. I mean, there's definitely been talks in job markets and in companies of building a new role of AI prompters and engineers. So obviously, AI can do the analyzing, but if you don't have people behind the computer giving the prompts and the guardrails, then it's all this exposure of AI to various different data sets and everything, and won't ever know what to do.
I don't know if you heard about this, but I was reading an article that I randomly came across. I don't even know how I stumbled upon it. But apparently an AI knows when it's being quote-unquote watched. So
Watched?
It will purposefully try to like bypass the guardrails by giving you a false answer. So it's not actually hallucinating, it's purposefully doing it. Which is actually insane to me, because now it's just like,
I'm even more scared for my life.
yeah. What you mentioned with that Terminator movie?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of now. I'm like, this is gonna happen.
Oh, no, don't say that. Okay, we need to be positive.
Yeah.
Of course. And then obviously for our startups, you obviously have a bit more exposure and understanding with that with your business. So take point in this.
Sure. So the good thing about having a lot of AI industries and startups is that a lot of people, especially VCs or venture capitalists, they want to actually provide lots of funding. And we're talking like billions and billions of dollars. So a lot across the board, at least in Australia and Sydney right now. I don't know if you've seen some of the AI startups, but they're so cool and interesting that it's kind of interesting to see them kind of go to these pitches and like different competitions. So mostly AI native startups particularly, they're the ones that are attracting the main share of this funding. But those that are using AI integration for like business intelligence or like, I guess, daily administration, it's also starting to be quite, I guess, an integral part of their process.
Yeah, 100%. And then obviously with our startups, it's interesting to see what people are actually passionate about and what they actually want to see come to market. I mean, we all know as business students, there's always angel investors and then venture capitalists and as well as private companies that then begin to invest as well in these projects as well. It'll be interesting to see what kind of gets highlighted and what changes within the market.
Definitely.
And that prioritization. Because obviously, I think definitely nowadays, AI has become, yes, this topic of controversy, but this topic of like exploration. It's like this new kind of diamond we've found in the rough.
I'm just interested to see how it kind of plays out in the environmental space, because there's lots of like talk about experimenting with AI, particularly in these startups, to like help the environment and save the environment.
Yeah.
But we also know that AI is using up a lot of our natural resources.
Yes, it is.
So it's kind of an interesting, I guess, topic to look into.
Oh, it's 100% ironic. The irony that AI is being used to solve environmental issues, while it's literally using and depleting water because it's acting as a coolant. It's definitely been very interesting to see how that will play out as well. All right. Awesome. So apart from technical issues, which we've slightly been having, thank you so much for listening today to the Finance Unplugged podcast.
We hope you are finding the lots of fun financial news intriguing, but also hopefully not too scary.
Yes, we're trying to be hopeful. But do keep listening and we'll see you next episode.